Hey guys, good to see a few of you already in the chat. Hope you guys are doing all right. Paprikosh, Frank, BB, Jay Sneaks, and Flary Royd are already around, so good to see you guys. Hope you're doing good. Audio video good, Don? Very happy to hear that. Don't want to talk into the empty room again like we've done in the past. How's Wednesday going? I mean, life's been busy last few weeks. Had to deal with funerals and that kind of stuff. Then gotta move, gotta finish some taxes, all that kind of stuff. So lots to do, and crypto market hasn't really been giving any pause either. So it is what it is. It's always like whenever you like have a lot of free time, nothing comes around, and then whenever you don't, a lot comes around. It's just how it goes. But Bitcoin isn't dead. Nope, not dead yet. But yeah. So before we start, big shout out to Bybit for sponsoring the show. Really appreciate it. Their links is in the description. They have like a sign up bonus or something that they want people to know about. So yeah, links to that is in the description if you want to check it out. Yeah, really appreciate their support. Respect the pump. Dude, that's so fucking hilarious. But yeah, we better respect the pump. But yeah, we'll talk a lot about Bitcoin today. I think makes a lot of sense given the nature of this move. Yeah, then we'll talk about the altcoins afterwards, because there's some altcoins that have actually shown incredible strength in the last few days. So we'll talk about some of those, and yeah, gonna be good. Don, if you could cover Doge, homie, I'll try. Remind me later. High time frame wise, with regards to Bitcoin, I mean, this is the monthly chart. It's laughable what this kind of like. We've had a 10K drop, right? Bitcoin dropped by $10,000, and this is how the monthly candle looks. A lot of people panicked. A lot of people kind of lost their minds. This is the monthly candle. And yeah, I mean, obviously, if this closes low, wouldn't be the prettiest close. But even if we went all the way down here, like that still be a massively bullish chart, right? So no indication whatsoever on the high time frames of anything bearish, really. High time frames just look good. Monthly looks good. Weekly looks good. It's kind of insane here as well, where you can kind of see like this drop didn't even take us to the previous week's low. I mean, it's just we've been going so vertical that these kind of drops aren't really anything significant. I mean, yeah, obviously it sucks for the people that are over leveraged, but then again, like everything sucks for those people. So yeah, weekly time frame, nothing too worrisome either. I mean, the next support is quite a bit away. That's like the only problem that the bulls have. With that's always the case when you have these parabolic moves upwards, right? So you get a parabolic move to the upside, and then you notice the moment we start pulling back, where is the next support actually? Like, where can I position myself here on a higher time frame basis? And the answer is there is none, right? Above 20K, zero supports on the way up. So that's kind of what's scary on the bull side, where you just have empty air below you, right? So it makes sense that you see all this panicking going around whenever Bitcoin drops a little. But then again, it doesn't really pay off to kind of be in the panic camp, right? What you got to do is just take some profit along the way. Like, I know a lot of people have been talking about taking profit being a bad thing, which is, I mean, it's just so wrong to me. But I mean, to each their own, right? I mean, I get the argument. So the argument for these people is Bitcoin's trending hard upwards. Doesn't really make much sense to take profits into a hard trending asset like this. For me, it's kind of like the moment this isn't trending hard upwards anymore, you've given back. Like, where does it actually stop trending upwards, right? Where would price have to go to kind of make this turn this into a downtrend, right? And the answer is like way below where anyone really has the average nowadays, right? So I mean, we would have to break 10k to kind of put this back into trending downwards. I mean, it would look bad if we lost 20k, but that's still not necessarily a trend change, right? Because the trend's just been straight up the entire time. So I mean, where does this really shift the trend, right? So if your argument is, okay, as long as this is trending, I don't want to take profits. If you're not fine with taking profits below 10k, then I mean, better do it when it goes up, right? And I mean, yeah, obviously this could go much higher. But yeah, like I said, if that's your invalidation, I don't really know where you're going to take profit, because you will either just forever hold, which is completely fine, in my opinion, like if you're in the investment camp. But if you're a little bit more on the trading side, it just makes sense to take some off the table, because the longer this goes upwards, the higher the risk that you have in the market, right? I mean, let's say you start with 100k at 10k, it goes to 100k, you now have $1 million in the market. Are you fine with losing $1 million just the same as you were fine with losing 100k? And the answer is probably no, right? So you kind of have to rebalance a little bit at least. So I mean, that's just my kind of view on it. You could obviously make the argument, okay, I'm just going to take profit if it breaks below 20k, which I think is fine. And then let's say it goes here, consolidates in here, then moves further up. You kind of push back, up your invalidation. It's completely fine too, right? But you gotta have at least somewhat of a plan to take some profit if you don't plan to just hold it forever, which, like I said, is completely fine to do as well. But yeah, high time frame still looking good. I don't really see much reason to be overly concerned. Where I do kind of see a little bit of alarm bells ringing is on the daily time frame. Let me actually put this on the 4 hour. So this is the daily time frame, right? And what we've been seeing is we build support, move up, build next support, move up, and so on and so forth, right? So we kind of just retest supports over and over and over and over again. So that's been happening, right? And we've been retesting some of them, like down here. We've retested some of them. Really haven't retested too many, right? Like, right, you can see this support never got tested. This support did. And then from then onwards, we haven't really tested any supports. Now we did. So we retested 33k. If you remember my last stream, I was like, that was, I think, that was exactly in this candle here, where I was like, okay, as long as we don't lose this, we're fine. And then we moved up another, how much is this? 26%, right? And now we've retested. The situation is still the same. As long as we don't lose this daily support, it's fine. The only problem with that is that the moment we actually properly lose this daily support, you're not going to get an entry. So what you have to kind of, what you have to do if you want a position is you have to kind of short somewhere above it, because the moment we properly break down, you're not going to get an entry. Very, very unlikely. So if you want to be on the short side, you're going to have to kind of, the stress-free ride of, okay, this support is broken, I'm going to short till 26k. It's going to be a little bit difficult to get, in my opinion, if we do get it. Because the moment 33k breaks, you're going to get like a candle like this. That goes like halfway to target. And then your risk reward just sucks. So that's why you see a lot of people shorting early, and I mean I can see their point. In my opinion, this is still bullish, but I mean this is the one to watch. And the moment if we should lose this support, and I've been saying this about all of these supports on the way up, is the moment where you actually start selling rips and kind of shift your focus, right? But as long as that happens, as long as that doesn't happen, if you're on the cautious side, you don't really have to do anything. Just enjoy the gains. And yeah, there's a support, pretty good support too. What I would expect in these circumstances with a parabola like this is that obviously the first support is going to hold I've been sharing on Discord, like in some Discords that I'm in some free Discords, how I thought this was gonna play out, this breakdown. And I mean, this support holding was pretty obvious from the get-go. And the reason why I'm saying this is, at least for the first test, right? That's how these always work, is you've had this rally upwards and everyone's kind of been pushed into the, okay, buying the dips corner. And then you don't get the dips, right? You don't get the dip here, you don't get the dip here. So the moment you actually start getting one, there's gonna be dips, there's gonna be bids at that support. So like usually, even if this wanted to break down, the first kind of test is always gonna hold, unless something catastrophic happens. Just based on the fact that all of these people that have been trying to get the dips haven't gotten them, and then finally they did. And as long as they don't get punished, they're just gonna put their bids there. So that's why we bounce from here. Best support on the chart, the only really significant one, just based on the fact that if we start losing it, the entire dynamic of the market shifts, right? So what does that mean? In my opinion, like the proper trade is waiting for any support, right? Let's say we go up here again, and then you have the same situation again, where you just have a new support, which is this structure in here, to break. Like if any of those break, like let's say in this situation we did something like this, broke down here, then you're gonna try to sell up here, or in general shift the focus from, okay, I don't want to be longing like exclusively anymore. I want to look at both sides of the market, right? Because if you've been just trading both sides of the market, one side has been a lot of fun and the other one hasn't. I think if this should break down, and I'm not saying it will, but if it does, I think you're going to get to play both sides again. You can play this long, this short, whatever. If that doesn't happen, if you don't lose any support, I mean, it's just a new paradigm, right? And that's what we've been having for the last few weeks to months. We just have been having the only up paradigm. And I don't want to say that's going to change until it actually has changed. And it's never been as easy to kind of judge whether it has changed or not, just based on the fact that this is so aggressive, such an aggressive parabola, that if we lost support, it kind of just break the entire thing. And then it's kind of obvious, okay, something has changed. And it's not happened yet. There's no real reason to expect it to happen. So that's where we are. So yeah, back to the chat. I'm shitting a stream on the Martini guy live stream right now. Who's that? Shit. I'm really bad with all these kind of, like, I'm bad with names and I'm bad with other people. Just too autistic, I guess. Which Discord is Donald in? Like, there's one, if you check Loom Dots, I'm in there from time to time. There's a couple. Why did you choose the big red pin bar as the support level, Don? There are hardly any swing points in the parabola run. So how this works, right? In general, how these kind of parabola runs work, or like in general when you don't have like any kind of supports, right? You have this kind of run, you're like, there's no good support here. And you're right? This is a shitty support. Like, this is a terrible support. It's just a red candle in a green run, right? And the same thing is true here, right? So you have like good support levels around like 12K and in this area, but these are really, really bad, right? Even this one, like all of this is really bad. But the reason why they work so well is because there's really nothing that can distract you in this environment. So what I mean by that is you only have these areas. Like everyone that looks at the daily chart can kind of see these areas, and they cannot be like, if you're trading in this 10K range, you can look back and you could kind of draw a line from here, and then you can draw a line from here, and someone else doesn't start their line from there, starts it from here. So you have all these different points, right? And then you don't have like a lot of bids in the same area, or like maybe in the same area, but like a good difference between them, just because people aren't as accurate with their support resistance levels that they draw. and not everyone is looking at the same thing. Some are looking at the past more, some are looking at the more recent price action. The reason why these work so well is because there is no real debate where support is, because this is obvious support. See, the only kind of support that you can have in a chart that goes like this. The only support that you'd have in a vertical chart is the one candle that differs from the norm, and in this case it's this one. And the same thing is here, the same thing here. So I mean, there's not really any kind of other support that you can look at. And when everyone is just in the situation where they're just scrambling to find something, these are the ones that are going to catch the eye. So I use those, obviously, because the thing is, it doesn't really matter if it's the best support level or whatever. Technically, it just matters whether people think, okay, this is the area to watch, just based on the fact that there's nothing else to watch. There's just vertical up, right? And if there's nothing else, you just take the best what you have. And in this case, this is the support. And it's the same thing here. So it's basically in this trend, any kind of red candles you're going to get are the ones that are going to be interesting. The one thing I want to note is that this is the longest retrace and the most aggressive one that we've had in a long time. Like 4 red candles in a row. I mean, you can kind of look back in here, no such thing, nothing in here, nothing in here. I mean, this is the last time we've had 4 red candles, and I mean those are sideways candles. Like, we've not had a pullback in ages. This is the first real pullback, and I don't think that's going to resolve anytime soon. So best case scenario, in my opinion, is we kind of range in here, just chop everyone to death. And worst case is obviously we break the support, because then you actually start to look for sell opportunities, right? So I don't think this is going to resolve anytime soon. If it does, we're just going to go for the massive, like the biggest blow off top that you've ever seen. If like we break 42K again, I think this just shoots up to 50 or 60. Like, there's no way in my mind that if it doesn't just chop here, but just go straight up, that we're going to see some next level degeneracy above there. It's support by necessity. Exactly, well said. That's why you're the guy with the words and I'm the guy with shit. When you can't actually come up with something that that speaks for you. Feels bad, man. Can you guys respect the pump, please? I mean, you gotta respect this pump, right? This is massive. Like, I never expected this to happen. Like, a lot of people they're looking at this and they're like, oh yeah, I've seen it coming. Dude, never in 100 years would I have expected this kind of run. Why do you say blow off top? Can't this 2017 happen again and we do a 40x? The thing with this is, right, one, the higher Bitcoin goes, the more unlikely like massive multipliers become. It's obviously still happened this year even. But the thing is, like, here at 40K, we're trading, Bitcoin's trading above Google market cap, right? Let's say this does a 40x and goes to 160K, right? Then we're starting to move into the gold cap into the gold market cap kind of area. And at that point, you're gonna have to think to yourself, like, have we really disrupted gold that much already that we can overtake it? And then, I mean, I probably have to answer no to that. I still think that Bitcoin's much better than gold. I think gold's pretty, like, I don't understand why people would invest in gold. I do understand why Bitcoin is more interesting, at least to me it is. But like, at that point, we get scarily close to the end goal, basically, for at least one of the narratives that Bitcoin has, right? Obviously, there are more narratives in play, but if you're actually approaching gold market cap, I think it's kind of a lot to wish for this soon after inception. Could it happen? Obviously. I mean, after this kind of run, no one can say anything's impossible. I mean, anything is possible for this, right? But I think that's like, then you're kind of overreaching. The reason why I'm saying I think that would be a blow off top is because whenever you have a parabola like this, And whenever you have a really strong move to the upside afterwards, right, which this would be, like let's say this goes up and then just goes completely vertical, that would be in general, like there's almost no way that this goes more vertical because it cannot, right? It cannot curve back in time. Like at some point in that future, it has to be kind of the blow off top. It's just how it works, right? It can go crazy, and we've written about this in the newsletter yesterday. I mean, just look at Tesla. Tesla went completely nuts. But in general, like even in Tesla, we're moving in areas where it cannot go more vertical. So there is a limit to how long that can go on for, and then it's just gonna pull back. And those pullbacks tend to be very, very aggressive, right? So gotta be a little bit on the cautious side when you see like a rally of, I mean, how much is it now? You have a rally from bottom to top of 1000% in a year, and then you go completely nuts in a few days if that should happen. I mean, if you're not titling that a blow off top, you're kind of moving in dangerous territories, in my opinion. And I mean, I still remember back in 2017 where people were saying this isn't a blow off top, because the last few candles weren't as blow off toppy as you'd expect. But yeah, I mean, for me it was, and I think that would be the same kind of situation again if that should happen, where I'm like, okay, this makes no sense anymore. But we'll see. We will see. I'm just incredibly happy that we actually got this far, because I mean that's already like 40K. That's already pretty crazy in my mind. That is pretty damn impressive. So yeah, that's Bitcoin for me. Any questions regarding the topic? I'd be glad to kind of answer some of them anyway. If you kind of want to talk more about Bitcoin, let me know. If not, we're going to jump into the altcoins, see what's up there. And oh yeah, I see Cred chilling the newsletter in the comments. That's good. Appreciate the support there. Do you have any advice on Ledger? Can you recommend an alternative? Jesus, like the thing with Ledger, for the people that haven't heard about it, is that they've had another breach. Like it's not really, as far as I know, I haven't really had much time to look into stuff today. But as far as I know, like Shopify had a problem, and Ledger stuff got leaked from Shopify, right? So yeah, it's the second one in a row, and people are obviously upset. Is there an alternative? I mean, there's Trezor, which you can look into. It's the one that most people like even better than Ledger. I like Ledger a lot, but I mean, I wouldn't buy another product from them myself either. It just makes, like, at some point you're just gonna have to say, okay, this is getting too ridiculous. And this, I mean, this could all be bad luck, but then again, like, at some point it doesn't really matter anymore, right? So I mean, there are alternatives. I would keep to the bigger ones because I don't trust most of these. The best kind of thing that you can do if you have any significant amount of money in crypto, in my opinion, there's two good ways, I think. One way is just storing it on Coinbase, which a lot of people are gonna hate me for, but I still think that is just, I mean, you're insured there. And if you're not computer literate, I mean, you're not going to make any mistakes there. If anything happens to Coinbase, the price of crypto will go to like almost zero anyway. So might as well, right? That's for the people that are not really good with computers, I think. Like that kind of way to go about it isn't really bad in my opinion. It's not necessarily in the spirit of cryptocurrency, obviously, but it's a nice and easy way to kind of store your stuff. And then there's the other way where you just air gap with, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do it. Old laptop that you never use anymore, that is never connected to the internet, kind of wipe it clean, put your wallets on there, air gap it, and you can read how to do that online and stuff. Problem is, obviously, if you go for the wrong kind of guide, and they're asking you for your private key and that kind of stuff, you should obviously not do that kind of shit. But yeah, crypto is just not really easy for the average kind of person to handle. But yeah, I think those are the two best ways to go about it. Either you're just a lazy person that stores it on Coinbase, not too bad, or like whatever other trusted exchange that you have. I mean, exchanges haven't lived long in crypto on average. Like most changes go bust, but Coinbase has a pretty good track record. I'd be surprised if they did. But yeah, there's not really like, there's never a risk-free kind of way to go about it. Just how it is. So, what's the short-term outlook on Bitcoin and altcoins? I think in general, my short-term outlook, right, is this is going to be massively choppy. And if we start moving back into the 40Ks, I think we're just going to squeeze massively higher. If you start rolling over, which I could see as well, and start losing 30K, I think that's just a straight way to 26. Might even wick all the way to 22. So if you lose support, I think there's almost no way we're not going to go for 26. And might even go lower. If we actually hold support and manage to push back above 40, 41, I think there's a good way to 50, 60K. In my opinion, there's going to be a lot of chop in the next few days. And how that chop resolves is really, really important for the structure. If it goes up, right, you kind of have this low time frame head and shoulders situation here. If that chop resolves to the downside, I don't think it's going to be a fake out. I think it's going to be just straight up, we're going to nuke. And if it does resolve to the upside, I mean, I would be surprised if it stopped before 50K at that point, right? So it's kind of like, I could see this go either way. If I had to take a trade, right at this instance, I mean, I'd probably want to take the short trade because that's more risk defined. But I'm glad I don't have to, right? Because this is a shitty situation to trade in. And then again, like the first time that I've actually talked about shorting in a while was up here. But then again, I mean, I can't do it anyway because Germany is on my back in that regard. So it doesn't really matter to me. If it dips, I'm going to be interested in buys. I'm going to be looking at the altcoins primarily. And if it rallies, I mean, I'm just going to be enjoying the rip and then looking to shift more into altcoins the higher it goes, basically. Do you think Corona has started this run? Kinda, yeah. I mean, at least it's provided the narrative, and that's all that really matters. Can you take a look at Bitcoin dominance? I hate this. I like to preface what I'm gonna look at now. I hate Bitcoin dominance. I think it's one of the worst things to look at in like charting wise. Makes no sense. Just based on the fact that the more altcoins you have, right? Let's actually move all of these. The more altcoins you have, so what this is, right? So this is Bitcoin on the one side, and then it's altcoins on the other, and you're measuring, okay, how much of the market is the one versus the other. So how like does this move, right? One, the altcoins in general gain value, so the dominance of Bitcoin goes down, right? Or the altcoins gain numbers, right? So you get more altcoins added. That would also make Bitcoin dominance go down. Now, if you add more altcoins, are you actually profiting from Bitcoin dominance going your way, right? So let's say you're sitting in an altcoin and then suddenly 50 altcoins get added that you're not in and Bitcoin dominance just plunges. It has no, like this has no effect on your altcoin holdings, right? You might be saying, oh, look at this altcoin, Bitcoin dominance dropped a lot. But if you look at your actual balance, it's changed nothing, right? So what we've had in this entire period here, so we had a shitload of altcoins be added, right? So the number of altcoins on this side increased by a stupid amount. So you have that situation going where you just get more and more altcoins, and then the dominance of Bitcoin still went up a shitload. So, I mean, this is like way, way less. Like this kind of increase that you see here in Bitcoin dominance isn't really reflected by you holding altcoin. Because if you're holding an altcoin, you lost way more than this would indicate. So it's kind of like, I mean, this doesn't really help you much because it can move regardless of what happens to your altcoin. So I don't like Bitcoin dominance. Looking at it, I don't really see there's much, like, I don't really think there's much edge in it. If anything, it's the best way to kind of cope with the situation that you're in. So if you're looking for a coping tool to kind of cope with the fact that the altcoins that you've been holding have gone down 80-90% against Bitcoin, this is probably the best way to look at it, because I mean, there's almost no way this goes to 80-85 based on the fact that there's just going to be so many altcoins at that point that altcoins would essentially have to go to zero, right? And the more altcoins you have, the higher, like, you can have an altcoin here with a market cap of 10 million that trades a volume of 100 a day, right? So it's basically at zero, still counts into the altcoin market cap, and it's still going to influence this, even though it's like, it's not really a thing anymore. So I don't really like this too much. I know why people are looking at it, because I mean, everyone kind of wants to see an index, doesn't want to go through the altcoins themselves. But I think this is problematic to look at, and doing TA on this is even worse, because you can't really trade this. I mean, I know FTX is kind of adding some stuff, but yeah, you get the point, right? It's not a good kind of way to look at the Bitcoin altcoin relationship, in my opinion. I like the fact that this is going up in general is already crazy, and that means that altcoins have been going almost to zero in comparison to Bitcoin, because one of these sides, one of Bitcoin and altcoins, is inflationary, and it's the altcoins. The altcoins keep going up, Bitcoin keeps going stable. I mean, it's just Bitcoin, and it's still going up. So if you want to look at an index for altcoins in general, or like kind of go like see the strength of altcoins, the best kind of way to look at it historically has been ETH. That said, ETH's been just very, very strong in comparison to all the other altcoins. So like, even if you look at ETH, like ETH's actually looking like somewhat decent, right? I mean, it's at monthly resistance. We're going to have to see how that plays out. But it's been doing pretty well. It's kind of like held its value against Bitcoin, even like ignoring all levels. Oh, sorry for that. Ignoring all levels. Bitcoin bottomed, ETH bottomed, and ETHBTC is still above those numbers, right? So that means ETH has kind of done the same push Bitcoin has. So ETH is not really the best representation for the other altcoins as well, but it's at least something, and it's better than Bitcoin dominance. So yeah, ETH kind of in an interesting spot, in my opinion. We have this support here that needs to hold, and if it does, I don't really see a reason why it'd be bearish ETH, even against Bitcoin. Like, I've been bearish ETH against Bitcoin for the longest time. I've been bearish from here all the way to here, so like 4 months, and that's, I mean, it's been like 20% price movement. I expected more given the Bitcoin strength, but it's still 20% price movement, so not too bad. But now that it's actually reclaiming support, it's reclaimed this support down here, and it's kind of reclaimed this one. We're going to have to see how the next 4 days play out, but in general, you kind of have this setup, and you don't want to be like too bearish into something like that, right? Is it going to fail or not? Like, if it does fail, let's say this rolls over here, there's more than enough time to get bearish there. But as long as this is kind of just sitting there, Like, I don't want to be too bearish on this. And in general, altcoins have been doing well when retail kind of enters crypto, and retail is entering crypto. There's a lot of new interest coming in. I know from real life, basically, almost every one of my friends have kind of contacted me in the last days to weeks, asking me about Bitcoin price and why this is going so crazy. Almost everyone from my family, everyone that kind of knows that I'm working in this space, has just kind of been like, okay, what the fuck's going on there? And then you also see PayPal volume of crypto going through the roof. eToro, I don't know if you guys saw eToro kind of running out of Bitcoin to sell. I mean, I don't know if that's like an accurate kind of news piece, but I saw a tweet earlier. Didn't really have much time to check into it or look into it. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that indicates that retail is coming in. I mean, you just have to look at the Twitter engagement, right? Twitter engagement is through the roof. Everything, all the kind of numbers that you have are just insane in comparison to the last few years. And I'd say retail participation is actually bigger than it was at the top in 17. Now, does that mean that we're actually like going towards the top for Bitcoin? Doesn't have to, right? I mean, if you look at Tesla, for example, retail participation was insanely high, like at 3x or 4x ago, right? So stuff can go much crazier than you think. But retail is here, and that has an implication for the other altcoins, because once actually altcoins start moving, retail is easily baited by that, no matter how shitty altcoins. I mean, we've lived through it a couple times. 2017, some bounces in 2018, and I mean, even earlier than that, we've had the same kind of situation happen. Whenever a retail comes in, altcoins get attractive, right? And we're not really seeing that in the charts right now. Like, I mean, if you look at Litecoin, for example, this looks atrocious still. And I think the reason for that is that we're still in the Bitcoin part of the market cycle. So whenever Bitcoin goes like this, really hard for the other altcoins to keep up. And then if you look actually at the USD pairs, they're not doing too terribly, right? Litecoin USD, you're looking at that. I don't know what I've drawn there, whatever. Doesn't really matter anyway. Like, against USD, you're fine here, right? You're chilling. If you bought Litecoin against USD at any time the last year, you're happy, right? You're not as happy as if you bought Bitcoin, but it's still fine, right? So the old seasonal thing that we keep talking about, the people that have been in the space for longer, is when altcoins actually start outperforming Bitcoin. And that hasn't really happened on a large scale. It's happened for some altcoins, and we're going to talk about them, but it's not happened on a large scale. On the large scale, this just been like a move down. And I think that's going to continue until Bitcoin tops. And it's going to continue until Bitcoin actually drops as well, right? So let's say 42 is the top for Bitcoin. That doesn't mean altcoins have to go up immediately. That just means Bitcoin is here in the market cycle, the altcoins are here in the market cycle, and then when Bitcoin drops, people are going to panic on the altcoins. So you could get another leg on the altcoins, but then I think you should be seeing outperformance, right? So that's kind of like for the majority of the altcoins, we're in the situation where some altcoins are doing well, and then the majority of the altcoins are doing pretty poorly in comparison to Bitcoin. And it's just a game of, okay, which one can, like, finding the ones that actually outperform to play. And I mean, we've seen some of them mostly on the DeFi side of things, and I think that's going to be interesting in the months to come anyway. We've had SNX outperform Bitcoin quite massively. I mean, if you guys still remember this, I said, oh, this looks like Head and Shoulders, broke to the downside. I mean, it went through a market cycle pretty quickly, right? It lost 75% of its value from then on. And now it's bounced by 180%. So there's some upside to be had on the altcoin side, but it's not been on the older coins. It's been on the newer ones. Besides, actually, and this is kind of funny to talk about Ccash. Ccash has actually outperformed Bitcoin in the last few days, but then again, like it dropped pretty much like a rock after breaking support, and it's still nowhere close to being bullish, but it's putting in an effort at least, which I like to see. So I want to see it go back into the range. That's going to be one where it's actually getting really interesting if it does. I think there could be a good amount of upside there. But I mean, just to give you an idea, when we broke the range, it lost 70% of its value. And then now it's bounced and it's already more than doubled, right? But something that you have to kind of get on board with the altcoins with is you have these ranges, breaks down, and then reclaims them, and maybe doubles or triples during that reclaim, but it's still gonna put in, like if it does reclaim, still gonna put in the same amount afterwards, right? So a lot of people are like, oh, this already doubled, I don't want to get involved. That's not necessarily the best kind of attitude with regards to the altcoins once they actually do start turning, because in general, the altcoins, when they start outperforming, they outperform harder. They're not just, okay, it's bounced a little, it's gonna die again. Like once the altcoin window actually opens, you don't want to be the guy that's not picking something up because it's doubled. Because I mean, if you remember my story, I've told this like a million times before. Back in the day when I traded Verge, one of the mistakes that I made is, let's actually look at the daily chart. And this is the biggest shitcoin ever, right? In my opinion, anyway. I bought this because I like the technical setup at 50 sats, right? And then it doubled, and I was like, oh yeah, this is sick. I backed the double, getting out, and then this happened. And just to kind of show you, like I got out in this candle basically, or like in these two candles, and then it did this. So there's oftentimes a setup where you can get in after double and you still haven't missed out on the biggest part of the move yet. But we're not quite there yet in my opinion, with regards to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's still pushing, still going crazy. It's going to be hard for the altcoins to outperform. And another thing is this kind of pump that I just showed you, which is massive, right? I don't think that's going to be the case anymore for the majority of the altcoins, just based on the fact that they have leverage now. So back in the day, you didn't have leverage to trade these altcoins with. There was very limited liquidity in general. And that makes it easy to pump them and kind of give them an insane run. While nowadays you have insane liquidity, you actually have like bigger players sitting there just waiting for you to overextend so they can fuck you. That wasn't the case back then. I mean, you obviously had some holders that could sell on you, but in general, like the market was so small and not really well built out that yeah, it just didn't make much sense. Like everyone was just on one side, and there was pretty much no other side on the altcoins. You just had an insane run. Everyone was kind of pulling on the same rope. And nowadays we have these people that are actually going to be looking to liquidate other people and that kind of stuff, right? When it gets overheated. Back in the day when it got overheated, it just got crazier. Nowadays, it's going to be a little bit different. So don't expect like 5,000% runs. I don't think that's going to necessarily happen again, but you're going to see some nice ones, I think. Just based on the fact where Bitcoin is. With Bitcoin at 40K, you can get some good retail FOMO. So I'm hoping to get in on some of that. But I want it to be not when Bitcoin is trading in this fashion. Like when Bitcoin is trading in this fashion and you get all in altcoins and it doubles from there, you're going to lose 50% of your value in your Bitcoin. In the altcoin, sitting in the altcoin, or like 40% anyway. And then you're going to regret doing that. So it's going to be pretty dicey to kind of time. If you don't want to time it, You just buy whatever altcoin you like and just pray. And that might work too. Is total market cap without Bitcoin a good indicator for altcoins? No, not really. That's always going to go up as well. Like market cap is always going to go up for the altcoins just based on the fact that there's going to be new ones added, right? If you want to do something like that, I mean, you can kind of do market cap without Bitcoin and then just for the first 50 cryptocurrencies, like in a proper index, right? And that would technically work to show you the strength or weakness. But the way we have it nowadays is that when you just add Bitcoin up and then all the other altcoins up, you have these altcoins that are, from time to time, you have like these massive altcoins that are in the top 100 that have like volume traded of like 10,000 on them with a market cap of several millions, and that's obviously going to inflate stuff. A lot of altcoins are in bullish divergence on the weekly and daily time frame. Can this be a sign that altcoin season is coming very soon? I think if the notion of alt season is a little bit of a different, like it's a little bit difficult to talk about alt season because people are kind of expecting to just buy any random altcoin and just make it big. I think that's even if it comes around, and it might, it's a dangerous kind of thought to have in your mind because it just kind of means that you don't have to work for it. Which necessarily, like, sometimes you get lucky like that. We did during 17 several times actually. But in general, like most of the time, if you're just kind of waiting for gold to kind of land in your lap, you're doing something wrong, right? You want to be looking for the best opportunities in this market. You don't want to necessarily be looking for an alt season that kind of just carries your ass, right? So I think just look for the altcoins that you like best, chart-wise and fundamentally wise, and then go from there. If you're just expecting an alt season and then just you want to buy the biggest scam because those pump the hardest in an alt season, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. It's just way more risk than you should be taking. Massive downtrend plus one tiny green candle equals alt season. That's kind of what it's been for the last few years, and that's kind of something that I've been very vocal about, that I really dislike. Nowadays, like, you're not gonna see me hate on alt season stuff too much, just based on the fact like Bitcoin's at 40k, right? ETH is not really doing too poorly either, and all these altcoins have been dumping a lot, so there could be like massive relief on those. Not really ready to call anything an alt season just yet, just based on the fact that, you're seeing some pumps, but this is nothing in the grand scheme of things. That said, even Nano, which I've jokingly made fun of for 2, 4, 6, 8 times now, where I've said alt season, everyone keeps saying alt season, it's never the case. This is actually the first time that I wouldn't want to make that joke anymore, because what's happened on Nano now is it stumped, right? It's ranged and then lost that range and reclaimed the range. Like, this is one of my favorite kind of bullish setups. I hope some of you kind of got into this kind of retest, whatever. I didn't. I was preoccupied with real life shit. Life's just been way too busy. If I saw this, I definitely would have. Just based on the fact that there's a good risk reward play there. And this is actually like the first kind of good altcoin setup on Nano for the last, 2 years basically. I've played it for the people that have been around for a little bit longer. I played this kind of pump. I played a pump in here. So I still remember this really well because I bought somewhere low in here, sold, and someone on Twitter back then, I think it was this, or maybe it was this, I don't know which one it was. Someone on Twitter made this like infamous tweet about why are you selling at resistance. Fucking hilarious to me. Like, it was a bigger Twitter personality. And I bought support and it sold resistance, and then he literally commented, why are you selling resistance? Makes no sense to me. And I was like, oh. Was that Crypto West? Yeah, I think that was Crypto West. Fucking hilarious. Still remember that, and it's literally dropped like a rock afterwards. And that was the good old times when people were just like getting into TA and just kind of like learning the ropes. Dude, where is he? I think he had a fund blow up or something. Like he made a fund with people's money, and I think that blew up, and then it just disappeared. But I don't want to put any kind of words in it. Like I don't want to be the guy talk shit about someone that they haven't followed up on. But I'm pretty sure that happened. Like took money from other people, I blew it out, and it just disappeared. I remember in a voice call he was pretending to be a genius, and I asked him if he'd ever heard of the Greek philosopher Bouphadis. Oh shit! Good old puns. Like hell. So would you short Nano now? No. Like this is the long setup that I've basically been waiting for. I wish I got some down here. Like this is literally the one time where I'm not gonna say, okay, you're delusional for believing the old season shouts, at least on Nano, because this is a good chart. Like nothing bad about it. It had a low here, a lower low, and then just smashed the lower high here. Traded way back above this high, and then held the range down here. I mean, that's a good looking chart. Does that mean it has to actually come back down again? Or like it won't come down again? Obviously not, right? This could go back down, but it's the first time in its long history of at least where it's been traded on Binance where it's actually a bullish chart. Doesn't have to play out. If altcoins in general won't play out bullishly, this won't. But I think this is a pretty good chart. Where could you buy in higher on Nano? I mean, higher as this support. It's pretty difficult. I mean, for me, this is still the range, and I might actually grab some of that. Just risk a little bit on a favorable alt move. But this is one that I'm going to be watching. It's really strong. WeChain has been a little bit weaker. On the weaker side, I expected more. It's kind of still ranging, and I think you kind of do the same thing. You saw the Nano structure, right? So you got the break back into the range. On lower time frames, you can see it even better, and then the retest of the support. And if WeChain does the same thing, then I'm gonna hope that I actually catch it this time, like in the 100 sat range. He fell for it, GG. Yeah, I'm not surprised he did. Are you from Germany? Yes. Is it that obvious? Shit. But yeah, I think like there's a few good setups on the altcoins if Bitcoin plays ball, right? So Nano is one of them. I think Dogecoin, we talked about this last stream where I said if you want to buy Dogecoin, that was literally at 29 or something. Buy it at 22. Yeah, you guys been running me again on this one. It's pretty annoying, honestly. Like I don't actually wanna say any prices anymore because literally every time I name, like I said, 15 sats and it's literally like been the bottom and been front run, and then I said yeah, next opportunity is gonna be 22. Literally front running. It is what it is. Just gonna highball it next time or lowball it or whatever, because this is getting stupid. But yeah, Dogecoin is one of them. Reason being, I think. Let me actually see if I have a better chart. This is actually one of them where it's like you're kind of buying into resistance on the monthly chart, just hoping the weekly chart plays out, right? And now that this has been front run, I think the better entry is now a weekly close back into the range. So hope you guys are enjoying your gains, because I mean, if it doesn't close back in the range, I think it's in trouble, right? You don't want to get like overextended with something that just loses its range like that. But yeah, it's at 24 sats. Yeah, it's now at 24. 22, like if you look at it, 22 is literally the wick bottom. But You think that we few have the ability to move the Doge market? I don't know. Maybe someone follows the bits or something. I don't know. But yeah, Dogecoin's one of the ones that I want to, like, if I see strength, I'm going to be interested in. Like I said, Ccash been strong, and if Ccash can reclaim the range, I'm going to be interested in this as well. So far, this is probably going to end up a bearish retest. Like, just based on the history that I have with Ccash, I mean, I've been shit talking Ccash for years and years. It's just continuously gone down since. And the reason, if you're asking yourself, Don, why are you hating Ccash so much, is that I had a shitload of money in Ccash during, like a good amount of my portfolio in Ccash during the old season in 17. And if you can, like, I bought pretty low, pretty close to the bottom, and then got in like for like times 2, while the entire rest of my portfolio did more than times 5. And I was like, fuck Ccash. And I was like, oh, this is just lagging. It's just going to catch up, right? And it never did. And this is like, whenever I'm like saying this stuff with like lagging stuff, like you don't want to be looking for the laggers. You want to actually be in the strong coins. I'm not saying that just, oh yeah, it just makes sense to me. I've actually lived through this stuff. I've bought the laggard before with what, like Ccash in 17, for example. I've done all these kind of mistakes before. It just usually doesn't work out well. So you don't want to be looking for the weak ones, hoping that they catch up. You want to be looking for the strong ones and then hoping they make more gains, right? It's just how it is. I thought they got delisted. Ccash only got, or is getting delisted on Bittrex, right? But I actually haven't followed up on that. I'm going to have to check. But I mean, it's still trading on Binance. And it's kind of hilarious. Like, do you guys remember me talking about this line? And that whenever it goes like too low below the line, you get a buy, and then if it goes too high above the line, and you get a sell. It's literally been like this game over and over and over again. Like every time it goes above the line, just nuked after. Every time it went below the line, it just had like a nice little catch-up play again. Like even in here, you had some green candles back to the line. Just this has been the downwards trajectory of Ccash. So whenever you think about getting too aggressive on this kind of stuff, you're gonna have to realize that this is the downtrend that you're kind of trading in. So if you're calling bottom on this, you're gonna have to have a lot of conviction, because I mean, it's basically like long in these altcoins, or a lot of these altcoins is like calling tops on Bitcoin, right? If you're comfortable calling tops on Bitcoin, saying, okay, this and this is the top for Bitcoin, you might as well call bottoms for altcoins. But if you're in the camp, okay, it makes very little sense to kind of predict the tops, just makes more sense to kind of react to them after they happened, then you should do the same with the altcoins, right? Because predicting this is going to be the bottom in a bearish trend like this is pretty aggressive. But I mean, it can work. Not saying it won't. So, okay, that's like some of the altcoins that we've gone over. Someone asked about sushi. I mean, we have it in the newsletter if you really want to read like something in depth about it. With regards like to resistance levels, this is something that I keep talking about in general. Whenever you have these kind of moves on the USD pair and you run out of resistance levels, and this is something that I did like talk about in the last stream as well. Like this is the last level that you had, right? Retested pretty nicely. This was the last level that you had, and you know, like, okay, where do I target? I have no idea what to do with this. I have a position, no idea what to do with it. Then you just go and check on the Bitcoin pair, and then you see that is actually running into resistance. Now, what does that mean when it runs into resistance on the Bitcoin pair? It just means that there's a chance that it's gonna stop outperforming Bitcoin again, right? So this is the resistance. This is where it's kind of tough to bet on it outperforming Bitcoin. If it does break that, then you would expect it to outperform Bitcoin again. And Sushi USDT can go up, obviously, while this rejects still. If Bitcoin goes from 36K to 50K, Sushi USDT or Sushi USD is going to go up regardless of what this does, right? Like that's kind of like the relationship that you have to look at. But like I said, if you're looking for, okay, where do I take profits on one of these, or where do I shift my money back into Bitcoin, you just look at the Bitcoin pair. Casual 2x on Sushi since the first time we covered it at support in Technical Roundup. Yeah, we actually said it was bullish until proven otherwise, and it had just we talked about this support level literally. Said, I mean, there's no, like, I think the first time we talked about it was here or here. Said there was no reason to be bearish this because it's not broken any supports, and that we in fact bullish on it, and it literally, like against Bitcoin 50%, and the same kind of support level actually exists on the USD pair, and we talked about this as well, and that was in here, I think that was the level. Yeah, something like that. And we said the same thing, was literally here, and it went up 100%. Pretty nice move. Didn't really cover it too much anywhere else other than the newsletter. So yeah, that's it from me. So like I said, looking at your coins, there's some that are looking really strong. There's some that look just absolutely shit still. I mean, Litecoin looks trash. ETH looks okay. EOS looks trash. TRX looks mega trash. Like, it's just a select few, right? And you don't want to bet on, like, when the entire market goes completely nuts, it's easier to kind of bet on the strong ones because, I mean, you know, they're going to outperform, but the market is kind of in your favor. Right now, it's like the strong coins are doing this, the weak coins are doing this. There's a chance that these kind of mean reverts in that kind of in that kind of market. That's why I'm not aggressive right now, because you don't have everything kind of aiming at the moon. You just have a select few. So it can make sense just trade the select few that are doing well and just leave the rest alone. But yeah, just kind of how I look at the altcoins anyway. And then once we actually start getting the market aligned with the outliers just do better than the market. And that's where you actually want to position yourself aggressively. And when you have this kind of situation going where the entire market kind of takes a shit and some outliers are doing well, it's a little bit more dangerous, but there's still money to be made, right? So yeah, something to keep in mind. So yeah, before I end, I want to thank Bybit again for sponsoring the show. Really appreciate their support. Like I said at the beginning, their links are in the description if you want to check them out. And big thank you to you guys as well. Like Cred always said, like the video and subscribe, that kind of stuff. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, I mean, that's fine as well. You can even hit the dislike button. I'm not gonna judge you. But I would cry a little bit, so better not do it. And yeah, appreciate you coming by. Always nice to hang out, have a little chat. So I do appreciate it, and we'll see each other on Friday if everything goes right. And we're gonna hopefully have a guest as well. So see you Friday, same time, same place, and have a nice evening. Bye bye.